XCR375 here, and doing a video response to Prepared Mind to John. The hordes will hunt preppers in SHTF. I think he's absolutely correct. I think he summed it up very well, to the point of it being like, hey, you go to uh, a steakhouse and you got your regular type of steaks on the menu, and whatever the New York strip steak or whatever it is. You got the skillet steak. Then you got your prime rib, and then you go up on the menu or down on the menu and look at the pricing, and the better cuts of meat are more and more expensive. Well, the way you can look at it is Walmart is going to be the cheapo type of steak, along with all the big retail stores and so forth. Then eventually, as you go down, you're going to get into the better cuts of meat. You're going to get the porterhouse, you're going to get the T-bone, you're going to get the ribeye, then eventually you're going to get to the, filet mignon or whatever, the veal, the real tender stuff. Well, the preppers are like the filet mignon slash veal. Really tender, really expensive, really good. So after all the major stores and stuff have been looted and raided out, like he said, they're going to come across a prepper's house or a small group of people, and it's going to be the jackpot, like going down to the casino and winning the $1 million jackpot. Cha-ching, score. Well, guess what? Once the horde of people find that, or the group of marauders find that, they are going to set that as a priority. And they'll continue to raid smaller places and stuff like that to sustain themselves. And then they're going to, like he said, make hunting preppers sport or whatever as a priority to get the food and so forth, because it's the filet mignon of stuff. And another thing is, how do you defend against that? Well, you need to be part of a larger group, and hopefully you are secure inside of your compound or bug out location whatsoever. But guess what? You're only going to be able to defend against so much at one particular point, and then you only have so many of those, and you can't get them all. So the question is, what do you do? How do you defend against that? Well, one thing that has come to my mind, and if SHTF has totally happened and law and order is totally gone without rule of law and everything like that, and you got the hordes knocking at your door or coming over the walls, or they've breached your perimeter, I sure hope that you've got gas masks and stuff like that, because in that particular situation, and if you're a prepper, you've thought about this and so forth, and gas the motherfuckers. And I'm not talking about like CS gas or tear gas or anything like that. I'm talking about the shit that fucking kills people. Gas the motherfuckers, because at that particular moment in time, it's a do or die situation, and it's either them or you. And like I said, gas them. Plenty of information out there on how it works and so forth, and what the symptoms are, what it smells like, and so forth. But like I said, gas the motherfuckers. If they're coming to take your supplies and kill you, because I'm sure they've probably already tried and you fended them off, but they keep coming. What do you do? Sure as hell ain't going to let them in, because they're going to definitely kill you, rape your women, and so forth and so on. So you got to do what you got to do to protect, whoever you're with or your group or whatsoever. but that's like the last resort. You can't get them all, too many of them. And it also depends on your group size. I mean, if it's been a sustained firefight and they hit you, you hit them, and back and forth, you're going to lose people all the way around. But most likely, they're going to have a hell of a lot more people than you are. And if they're like locusts going through the countryside raiding everybody, and they hit your whatever complex, compound, whatever, uh, and they haven't broken off after the first initial hit, and they're continuing to hit you, gas them, gas the motherfuckers. Um, so something that you got to think about up here and be prepared for that. What am I going to do if I run across 1,000 people or 700 people or several hundred people that are reaching your perimeter and stuff that you've set up? What are you going to do? You can't get them all. You know, you can get some, but if there's just too many of them and you're starting to be overrun, gas them. I'm not talking about tear gas or CS or anything like that. Let me, and it's not the best thing to do, but it's something that you better be prepared for because it's a do or die situation, and it's you or them. Let me tell you a little um, situation that happened over in Yugoslavia. I got a friend that is from Yugoslavia who went through the Civil War over there. He pretty much said after the first 30 days there was hardly any food whatsoever. After the first 45 days there were no birds, no rabbits, no squirrels whatsoever inside the city. 60 days you no longer saw cats or dogs on the streets. People were doing what they had to do in order to survive. People ate rats, squirrels, whatever they could find, birds, cats, dogs, you name it. He said there was nothing left. No food was getting in, nothing was getting out. People ate everything that they could possibly eat, and there's your answer to what people will do. As you guys saw, my cat came by, needed some attention, walked in front of the camera. Well, people will eat him. They'll eat your dog. They'll eat your cat, your other animals. So don't put anything past people when they're hungry. So you need to have the mindset of how can I counter a massive horde knocking at the door, or if they've already hit the perimeter, what are you going to do? How many are there? How strong are they? You're going to lose people in a firefight. Simple as that. It's just going to happen. How are you going to minimize that? All right. So everybody in your group has gas masks and knows how to use them and knows how to operate them. Say there's several hundred people at the gate or whatever, and they're definitely marauders. They draw on first blood or whatever. Keep your casualties down to a minimum because you're not going to be able to get replacements. Like I said, gas the motherfuckers. Fortify your property. Anything that makes it harder for them to get closer to your house, because if they get to your doorstep, you're already pretty much fucked. So you definitely want to keep them as far away from your property as possible. So initially, you want to have different layers of defense. Set your perimeters out, and as each certain perimeter, as they overcome each perimeter, they lose more and more people. So I'm not going to go into everything because there's people out there that probably do watch these channels and figure out how they're going to be an effective marauder group. But tell you, train in your gear, That includes your gas mask and everything else. And they're knocking at your door. There's a shitload of them, 4 of them, and they're of you or your group. You're going to have to do what you need to do in order to survive, because it's that type of a situation. And just like I said, remember what I said about there were no animals whatsoever left during the Yugoslav Civil War inside there because everybody ate them. I'm going to leave my animals behind. Yeah, right. I'm not going to do that because you know what? Somebody's going to come by and eat them. You're not going to leave your animals behind, or your dog or whatever. Anyway, XCR out.